Welcome to the Morning Brew with your girl, Germaine. So come on in. I know you're sneaking out for a coffee break. It's okay. Come on in so we can talk today. I won't keep you long because I know we got work to do. So I got my coffee. What are you drinking today? Coffee, tea, juice, maybe a smoothie? It's okay. Bring it with you. Come on in. Come on in for this morning brew. Whew. Today is Tuesday. Thank God for it. So, today's brew, we're going to be talking about how you should become the person you needed. We'll get into it so you get a clear and full understanding of what I'm saying to you. All right. But if you're coming in, just let me know you're in the community. So, hey, let me know what you're drinking. Say good morning. And remember, I started also playing this, introducing Morning Brew, the evening pour segment, introducing it in the afternoons at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, don't ask me why 5 minutes extra over. 6:05. So if you miss out and you want to catch up, then you know what? Catch us live at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Morning Brew, the evening pour. So maybe you enjoy it on your ride home from work or wherever you may be en route to, or maybe you're already at home, or maybe you're still in the office and you need to take a break because you're on that late night shift. But yeah, stop by, have you know, a coffee or tea, have a sip with me. So let's get into this message though. So as you're coming in, like I said, if you are checking out this live and you don't want to let me know that you're checking it out, it's okay. Hey, listen, let's have coffee together or let's have a drink together, tea, juice, whatever you're drinking. It's okay. Thank you for stopping in though. Hey, Jesse Moss 92775, my sister from out on the West Coast. Thank you. Thank you. It's early and thank you for always chiming in and showing up. And so today we are discussing the brew topic of be the person you needed. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how do you turn pain into purpose. Yep, we're going to get into it. So, like I said, I don't want to hold you long because I know some people may be sneaking out just to tune in, but let's get into this. All right. So, we often sometimes go through life looking for the one person who can pour into us, who can fix what is broken, or guide us through the unknown. But what if that person was you? I always say it's easier for us to look for someone else to give us the answers we need or to, like I said, to pour into us, to fix us. We think it's always easy for us to get that other person or find someone. But today I want you to start thinking inward. I want you to start looking inward at you. Because what if you were the person that you are so in search of to help you? All right. I'm going to just let you hold on to that for a moment as we get further into the message. So, this brew, yes, I'm going to flip the narrative just a little. Instead of waiting for someone to show up for you, why don't you become that someone? Why don't you become the safe space you never had? And why don't you become the mentor, the advocate, or the guide your younger self was praying for? Can you do this? Can you become the person you needed? Well, I want you to think on that because as we go through this coffee brew today, this break, I want you to see, hey, maybe I can be that person that I've been in search of. Okay. So, you know how we do. We always pour into purpose. So, in this part of it, this segment part of it, we're going to pour a little into purpose, right? So, becoming your own healer, leader, and advocate. Nobody knows what you've carried but you. I always say we haven't walked, we walk in our own shoes. And so sometimes we got to be mindful not to pass judgment on someone or not to be quick to respond when we see something, because we don't know what someone is carrying or what someone has walked through or come out of. We don't know. And so we should really be mindful before we want to comment or before we want to judge someone. So let me just get into this just a little, right? Nobody knows how many times you patched yourself up in silence, shedded those tears in the wee hours of the morning. People don't know. And a lot of times we move in silence, so we don't even tell people when we're really hurting and going through something. And yet, I want you to be mindful to know, guess what? And here you are. You're still here. Even carrying all the baggage or, going through whatever it is that you're going through, you're still here. So sometimes it's just learning to self-soothe, right? Or advocating for your worth. Yes, your worth. And then leading with wisdom you've earned in the fire that you've come through. All right, because sometimes the person you're waiting for is the person you're becoming. I love that word. That word becoming, to me, it's like on a journey. I'm on a journey of discovery. And I know I'm going to pick up some things along the way. I know I may go through some things. I may hit some pitfalls. I may get some scrapes and some bruises along the way. I may even lose things along the way, loved ones, and, just things that I have to leave behind. But that word becoming, that journey, as hard as it may be sometimes, on that journey is what is so necessary for us in our life to know how far we have come, how much more we may need to go. But think about all the riches and the jewels that you may pick up in spite of the things that you may have to leave behind or you may have lost along the journey. All right. So just when you are on this journey, this thing called life, start looking at it through different lenses, maybe, because a lot of times we can walk through and be so upset or so angry about how we feel life is dealing the hand to us. But sometimes just kind of open up the window a little higher so you can see a little more clear, maybe, or you can see a lot more further in the distance. And just be able to take in what you need, discard what you don't need on this journey. But the most important thing is you're becoming. You're becoming as you are journeying through this life. All right. So let's pour a little more into the purpose and why your story is someone else's survival guide. Have you ever looked at that? Me being a publisher, I hear stories all the time. I'm so intrigued. I'm so fascinated by, one story. And it's in a positive way, because what I realize is people have gone through a lot in this life. People carry a lot with them and don't know where to put things at sometimes, right? And then people don't realize the power in their story and how it could be the very thing to uplift you and really, shoot you into the orbit and space that you need to be in. Your story. Sometimes people feel, and I hear this all the time, no one wants to hear my story. No one, my story, it's what I've gone through. And people aren't going to really resonate or relate to it, or don't do that to yourself. If I could say anything, stop doing that to yourself. There is always a reason and there's a purpose why your story is your story, and that you've gone through it, and no one can tell your story like you. So Just think about this, because you probably may not have thought about this, all that you've gone through. And I know you may be upset sometimes. I know there may be anger that has built up in you because of what you had to deal with on this journey. But what if what you've gone through is to be a healing for someone else? And I know, I mean, I can only imagine, because some of the stories that have come across my desk, some of the stories that we have published and put out in the marketplace, it brings tears to my eyes to know that, oh my gosh, I mean, everyone can't travel in the shoes of someone else. So and I just want to throw this in here. So when you see someone's life and you may see all that they have accomplished and all that, they may have amassed, the wealth or whatever it may be, and you so desire that life, but do you also desire the journey they had to take in order for that to be their outcome? Yeah. Sometimes we don't think about that. We don't think about the pain points. We don't think about what someone had to survive or what someone had to go through. All we see is what it looks like now in the present. Sometimes you should just, talk to someone, get a little insight on their story, and then you may feel a little different about wanting what they may have. Because sometimes, we could never travel in the shoes of someone else. But I didn't mean to go all the way over to that side. But it's just some food for thought. When you're thinking about your story, your life, it is so purposeful. And yes, you may have gone through some real tough times in your life. And I could never, take any of that from you. That may have been the thing that has caused you to really be able to gain the control or the power over yourself, to be able to be a force today, to be able to help others come the way you may have come. But your life could be someone else's survival guide. It is so necessary that they hear your story, to be able to give them the strength and the courage and the hope to be able to make it through every day for them. Keep that in mind when you start looking at yourself not being worthy because of what you've gone through. And if you haven't, go back to the other coffee break when we talked about what you survived is not who you are. Okay. So, and there's a few other coffee breaks that you may want to go back to just to listen. And I hope they inspire and I hope they encourage you. But let me go through this, that the trauma, the lesson, that lonely chapter in your story is not wasted. When you speak your truth, not perfectly, you may not say it all perfectly and correct, but all I ask is just be honest with it, because you can light the path for someone else. And people are smart. People can tell when you are not authentic. People can tell when you're trying to get one over on them. People are not, I mean, people are smart. I'm telling you, people are smart. So my thing is, be your true self, because the truth will always reign, even over a lie. And right now we're living in a country and it's a whole lot of lying going on to kind of make us feel like, what, we're stupid? We're not. Okay. Some things you could see clearly right through it. But here we are. Your story. Just be honest with it. All right, let me just chime in with a few people. But before I do, because I see new people that have joined the community, let me just say this. When you speak your truth, like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. All I ask, just let it be honest, because your breakthrough becomes someone else's blueprint. You probably never looked at your story or your life like that, right? And if you think about your journey, your story, think about what was it that what book did you read, right? What were the things you were watching when you were on a search of getting healing or finding the very things and the tools that you needed for your tool chest, right? So you also went through a process. Now you become a part of someone else's process. And just by you sharing your story, someone else is able to pick up your book and read it and take the tools, the nuggets to take your story to empower themselves along their journey. So start looking at you differently in your story and how it can be so impactful and how it can become someone else's blueprint and how it can help light the path for someone else to be able to see clearly so they don't hit those same potholes that you may have gone through. All right. So your story doesn't need a bow. No, it needs bravery. Be brave. And I promise you, just from past experiences as a publisher, as you begin to start writing your story, journaling your story, guess what is going to happen? You are going to discover things that you thought were already settled and you thought you had been set free from them. And there may be some residue still left on those things, that area, right? Or you may even find that, you know what? Oh my gosh, this thing doesn't affect me anymore. But I tell you, you begin to find more of you as you're becoming on this journey called life, right? So there's power in your story. So let's talk about also, we're going to pour a little more about leaving a legacy. And, you may hear that a lot. What's the legacy you want to leave? Through your presence and not always perfection. Right? So before I get into this, I just want to say good morning. Good morning, Leslie, over on YouTube. Thank you for chiming in. And guess what? We have some new people here on Instagram. So we have Jose Gustavo. Now, please forgive me if I mess your name up, but we have Jose Gustavo 66. Thank you for joining. We have Martin Mart 68. These are some new names that thank you for chiming in coming up. And we have Mr. Dot TG for life. So, guys, what are you drinking today? I have my coffee with me on this coffee break, but thank you for stopping by for this coffee break. All right. And so let me get back into this, right? Because legacy is something that I don't know if you think about what you want your legacy to be when you leave this earth, right? Most people don't think about that. We think day to day, getting through this day to get to the next day. Because if you notice and if you think about those that are around you, people are checking out a lot sooner than we expect them to. Yeah. Man, when I say life is lifing, and I'm quite sure you all have heard that term, life is lifing, and people are getting up out of here. It makes you start looking at life in a whole different perspective. It does. So, good morning, Dr. T. Good morning. Thank you for joining in over on Facebook. So, let's talk a little bit about leaving legacy. Legacy isn't always about big platforms or book deals. Sometimes it's just being the calm in someone else's storm. We don't think about that, right? Sometimes you don't realize that going through a day, how you can affect someone's life. It could just be with a smile. Someone told me years ago, why you smile so much? And to the point, I think I got a little offended because it's like, what does my smile have to do with you? And why would you even pose that question? It's on my face. This is my face. This is my smile. But the one thing I realize is, and this has come through other people, a smile can be so infectious. A smile can be something to brighten someone's day when you least expect it. Sometimes all people want is you see them and it could come across with a smile. But what I realized with that question, when that question was asked, I didn't realize at the time, but the more I thought about it through this journey, when people aren't happy themselves, and people sometimes can see the effects of what you do or what you bring to a space, people can see that, and everybody's just not happy to celebrate you. But that's okay. That's okay. Thank you. You have a beautiful smile, my sister. Thank you. For me, it's making an impact on someone's life. Thanks, Dr. T. Absolutely. It absolutely is. And you never know, just your presence could be the very thing someone needs at that moment in time. Because remember, we don't know what people are carrying. We don't know the weight of the thing that people are really going through. So keep that in mind when you're showing up in someone's life, your presence, your energy, making sure it's in alignment, okay? And it's not this type of energy that someone's like, I'm out of here, okay? But also legacy. Sometimes it's modeling boundaries, healing and growth. But see, we don't think like that. When we think legacy, we think we got to do this grandiose gesture of making an impact, leaving something that everybody has to see. Sometimes it could be the small, subtle things and the impact you have on one's life. And that one person can pay it forward to someone else, and so on and so on and so on. But also, sometimes legacy, sometimes it can show up for others the way no one showed up for you. Wow. Okay. So now let's get back to some things, right? You don't have to be flawless to be faithful. Your presence, your example, your love, that's the legacy. So start looking at legacy in a different way and how you can really embody that for every encounter you have along this journey called life. So, y'all know we're in the reflection section now. So, I'm going to leave you with two questions that I just want you to think about. I want you to let it resonate, let it steep a little as you go through your day. So, who did you need when you were younger? And how are you becoming that person today? Think about that. Who did you need when you were younger? And how are you becoming that person today? Okay. And this is the second question that I want you to just reflect on. What part of your story could help someone else if you shared it honestly? Yeah, I'm going to leave that because I know there's a lot of books still in you guys out there. And sometimes you just need to know, well, what is the first step and what do I do to get this book out of me? Because I know already, I am so tired of people saying, you got a book in you. You need to tell your story. Yes. And that's what we're here for at Hope of Vision Publishing. So let me just put up so you can I'll just put the website up. And if you feel the need to be able to stop by, if you feel the need to stop by, just visit us at hovpub.com. If you have a story that's been burning on the inside of you, but you really don't know how to birth it out, how to get it out so the public can enjoy it, and also so it may become a light for someone else's path, hit us up. People say I'm a good coach or a midwife to help birth it out. But you know what? You be the judge of that. I'm here for you if you need it. All right. So, all right, guys, this is what we do. We're coming to the final sip. All right. And so I want to leave this with you, these encouraging words. Stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Yeah. Start becoming the person who remembers, heals, and pours into others. Not because it's easy at all, but because it's necessary. So you know how we do. We sip slow. I needed that. I was getting a little dry. We walk tall. Yes, stand tall. Walk in it. And you are the guide you've been looking for. Keep that in mind. You don't have to always go out and search for someone to fulfill the needs that you may have. Why don't you become that person you need as you're becoming along on this journey? Well, guys, listen, that brings this brew to a close. And you know what? You can go back to work now. Thank you for stopping by. And if you have not already, please make sure it's in the description. Make sure you stop in at the HOV community, Hope of Vision Connect community, and make sure you join our YouTube page. So you could just stay up with the latest and know what's happening. But thank you so much for always chiming in, making this a part of your day. And like I stated, if you missed it or you want to share it, guess what? 6:05 p.m. Monday through Fridays, we are back at it again for the evening pour. So for those that are chiming in for the first time, you are always welcome. Thank you so much. And if you did not today, if you stop by tomorrow, make sure you bring something to drink with you so we can have a drink together, okay? Whether it's coffee, tea, water, juice, smoothie, whatever it is, it's all welcome. But thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day. And remember, you are the person you need. I'll see you soon. Bye.